Hey, Gavin.
Hey, Louie.
You're in full spooky mode tonight.
I really am. You know, this is my thriving. It's the chilling season. It's getting cold out. The leaves are falling. The lights are low. It's turning nighttime at 6:30, which also is like a little obnoxious, but I love it.
Yeah, you're drinking blood. You're sacrificing babies.
Yes, absolutely.
All the regular fun things for Halloween.
Can I tell you, shout out to my friend Steve in high school. My friend Steve was goth in high school, and we joked once about him eating babies in a study hall. And a girl actually went to the front office and told them he was eating babies, and they laughed at her.
Oh, poor girl. What did she think was going to happen?
I don't know. You know,
She
there's a man in
right
there.
Open.
Yeah. She solved it. She was the Jessica Fletcher of that study hall.
Mm-hmm. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Mixed Reviews.
We are a film podcast where we take a film subject, such as an actor, director, or mini genre. We take an entire month. We do as much research as humanly possible. We watch so many things, and we give you a full history of that subject. Then we tell you what we like and what we don't like.
The reviews are, in fact, mixed. And this episode is our traditional yearly spooky. Gavin, the face you make is just too much.
I love
We're
it.
so excited. This is Gavin's whole shtick, whole genre. And I'm along for the ride, okay?
It's an education for you. It's a Carey Mulligan, and it's an education.
Correct. Got it. We watched that for I'm thinking of the movie Shame.
Oh, yeah. Same.
Yeah.
I'm just always thinking of the movie Shame.
Right.
Specifically one scene. Seminal's a good word.
Okay. Last episode, we talked about Ms. Deborah Winger.
We absolutely did.
The diva, the icon. My mom called me and said, I've been to Gillies. Can you imagine? She went to Gillies.
That's amazing. Oh my God.
She said she went during the day though. Like it was a tour vibe.
I wonder, and like this is not tour vibe. Okay. I'm just trying to think because I know that they built stuff for Gillies. So I'm sure parts of it were faked. So, but
right,
because like you have to be able to move camera around, obviously, and whatnot. But but that's amazing. That's so cool. Like,
yeah, it was filmed literally outskirts of like Houston, Texas City, Bayou vibes. But yeah, she was very excited to hear about her soul on the show.
I love your mom.
Yeah,
I've said it before. I'll say it again.
Moms are welcome here. Okay,
absolutely.
When you hear your family. But we talked about Deborah Winger, super fun. We even got some comments about Ms. Deborah Winger.
We did. I'm going to read two comments very quickly. The first comes from Charlie, who actually commented on a previous episode about our summer vacation movies. And he said, hey, thanks, guys, for reading my comment on Spotify. I enjoy Monte Carlo a lot. It came out the summer before I started high school. And I remember going to the theater with my best friends at the time to see it and having a great time. Blessed are the children. Also, I did not know who Deborah Winger is until now. Might go check out some of her movies now. I love that.
Yeah.
That's why I do this show. Like, that's why I love hearing that. Like, I love movies. I love talking about movies. And I like telling people
movies.
I love movies. And I love telling people about things that I think that they'll like, you know, that, I mean, obviously like a part of the format of the show that we created when we did is we do talk about the stuff that we don't like, but that's criticism, baby. But I do like being like, hey, here's the thing that I think other people might like, and and getting it out there and hoping that maybe, you know, they'll watch some stuff.
Right. And that's like half of what I'm doing, even, you know,
right.
Like I hadn't seen any of those movies. I knew who she was, but now I've seen the Terms of Endearment, and that rocks my world.
That still shocks me because I know you're a big James L. Brooks fan. So it shocks me that it took you that long.
I know. We're doing a real community service here is what we're saying. But thank you, it's Charlie, right?
Yes, Charlie.
Thank you, Charlie.
And that was on our Patreon, which, by the way, you can go and join. And it's $5 a month across the board for people who join. We try and do extra stuff to put up there. I just did a series of myself at New York Film Festival. I have 6 film reviews up there. It's maybe about and a little over an hour in content altogether, but I enjoyed doing that. And we don't do commercials for the Patreon. We just tell you about it. It keeps our show ad free, so we're not interrupting the conversation with a commercial. And I love that. So
Yeah, totally.
please go join. We're just the Mixed Reviews on Patreon. Our second comment comes from Spotify, and this is Sean. And Sean said, "I love Deborah Winger, but primarily listen to this to hear your views on A Dangerous Woman." Uh-oh. And you did not disappoint. Glad you clocked the Gyllenhaal's total involvement in a film that was bizarre and questionable at the time. Also, Madonna did an interview pre A League of Their Own, I think with Vanity Fair, in which she said directly that Deborah Winger was miscast in Sheltering Sky. So when she joined A League of Their Own, Debbie walked. True story. Winger was already on location in Chicago when she left the production.
That's a gag.
That's a gag. That's some good gossip right there. Thank you so much, Sean, for writing in and giving us that little tidbit. Because like I said, we do a ton of research, but we can't hit up everything. And obviously, like, we're not like digging through Madonna interviews to know more about Deborah Winger, even though we did do a great Madonna episode.
Yeah, we did.
So feel free to go back and listen to that one. That one was with the amazing Trina Wintour, who will actually be joining us next month. So
yeah. Wait, so was Gina Davis like a late time incoming girly on that?
And I think we talked about that in our Gina Davis episode, but also that was 2018. So
yes, we've covered a lot of A League of Their Own.
Yes, very much that.
But okay, thank you both of you for sending messages, saying nice things about us. We love to hear it. Deborah Winger, Debbie Wingy, we love you too, Diva. Keep farting in general directions on set specifically.
But what's that? Is there something going along with the electricity around here? Are things shaking a little? Is there static in your headphones? Oh my God.
What is it, Gabby?
Are we being visited by strange invaders of a different kind?
That stuff's my grinder hookup, actually. I gotta go.
Yeah.
He is a strange invader, but
But that's how you like it.
But I did invite him.
Yes,
I did invite
true.
him.
Yeah. That was my tease to bring up what we're talking about for this very Halloween-y episode of the Mixed Reviews.
What the Halloweeny?
The Halloween-y. That's your grinder hookup.
But yes, this Halloween season, we are covering aliens on film.
Yes, this is a topic I think for a long time, my brain sort of resisted aliens as like a scary thing, and I don't know why, because there are so many horror movies that are about aliens and whatnot. But I think for some reason I gravitate more towards, even though I am wearing a Mothman shirt, and for all we know, Mothman is an alien. But who knows?
True.
But no one's been able to interview him yet. Even though I'm,
tough cat. Tough cat.
I've been texting and trying to. He keeps leaving me on red.
Classic Mothman.
Exactly. I gravitate more towards the, like, I don't want to say Victorian, but like I like a good ghost. I like a good vampire. I like a werewolf guy. I love Frankenstein. I have that poster back there. I have so many copies of the book back there. I like never, my primary, and maybe it's because I'm also a Star Trek fan, like my primary thing is not like, oh, alien spooky, but there is in our culture, going way, way back, a tendency to be scared of the unknown. And really, that's what extraterrestrials sort of represent.
Right. I was surprised, though. I think aliens are pretty flexible and sturdy subject to explore on film, because there is the unknown. There's also like the visitors, people coming to your home, people assimilating, invasion, like your body, your actual body. There's a lot there. So it was exciting to like kind of explore, and there's a the scary like Alien franchise type vibes, but then there's also like silly like ET and Transformers are, I guess, technically fucking aliens.
Right. Well, I was thinking the same thing. Like Superman is an alien, one of the
Mm-hmm.
most famous superheroes of all time. Himself is an alien, and his story is built around him being a refugee to this planet. And so, like, there are many, many types of aliens. And obviously, like, the reason we're doing an alien on film episode is to talk more about the scarier, the more Halloweeny. Like, that's why we're doing it this time of year. But I would never ask us to exclude that other stuff, because even in our ghosts on film episode, we talked about even, our vampires on film. There's like the littlest vampire, the worst witch in our witches episode. There will always be a way to introduce children to these ideas too. E.T. is one of the biggest movies of all time. I mean, everybody knows E.T.
Right.
And even in the year it came out, it wasn't the only alien film that came out. So like, it's one of those things where it is a really malleable uh, topic. This, though, I will say, more than any of the other Halloween episodes that we've done, reminded me the most of our Zombies on Film episode,
Mm,
because I do think also a lot of these films rely on the idea of community, on working together to survive something like this. And maybe it's because, like, werewolves, and it's really difficult to do a movie in which there's like 75 werewolves, 100 werewolves, 100 vampires coming
right.
after you. Like, a lot of the like aliens, though, it's easier to be like, well, they're so advanced, we don't know how many they are, that they already have a leg up on us in a
Right. And
way.
but also that they're this community. They are their own community. The
Yes.
perhaps a perfect community. And we are lesser, and they are coming to invade, take over, make us into their slaves. There's a lot of just kind of like little intricacies about aliens that are uh I don't know, interesting, like scary, spooky, but also I mean there are some movies that are funny. I mean Men in Black,
Yes.
ostensibly like comedy action vibes. Maybe Battleship. I
I know.
laugh.
I
I
saw you
laugh.
watched Battleship, and I was just like, God bless, Godspeed, Louis.
Listen, Universal said, "What if we made Transformers but Rihanna and boats?" And
Yes.
also America propaganda.
Yeah, it's I've only seen it once. I did not revisit Battleship,
missed
sadly.
missed out.
I
Missed out.
know. I mean, Peter Berg is not my thing. Not my
Oh,
thing.
I watch it so you can hear Rihanna say "Mahalo, motherfucker,"
Yes, exactly.
and that's it. Gavin, then let's get into our rewind. Let's figure out where this stuff is from. Let's get into it.
I have the honor, the privilege of writing the history of the people of Earth for when the
Hmm.
aliens invade us.
Hmm.
So I will be doing the rewind this time. The history of extraterrestrials in culture actually goes back really, really far in a way that you're probably not expecting. To me, this was shocking in the similar way that when we did pageant episodes and you began with like ancient Greece, I was like, holy shit, what is happening? Uh, Same thing here. We're going back to the second century.
Whoa.
Uh, the writer Lucian, who wrote satires, wrote a tome called True History, in which he claims to have visited the moon when a ship was sent up by a fountain, which was peopled with aliens who were at a war with people of the sun over the colonization of the morning star.
Right, right.
So that
Classic.
exactly. So that goes all the way back. And essentially, for long swaths of our history, people thought of extraterrestrials as um, very much like us. And people's understanding of extraterrestrials increased, obviously, with the increase of their knowledge of science. So, like, with every scientific discovery, there became new wondering of, like, looking up the stars, wondering if we're alone, thinking about other people. But as I said, or and occasionally like seeing things in the sky, like shooting stars or bright lights, and wondering like, is that something else? Is that God? Is that gods? Or is there something beyond us that's like us in the out in the universe? And as this happened, like obviously people are basically coming up with the concept that if there are other things out there in the universe, they are like us. And there's a real specific reason for that I'm going to get to why that changes. But, even if in Voltaire's Micromegas, he writes about the people of Saturn who are literally just taller than us. You get Cyrano de Bergerac's Les Stats at Empires de la Lune, and in that he creates the Selenites, who differ basically from humanity only in like culture and habits. Like they're basically our mirror image and whatnot. And so you just get this kind of not incredibly imaginative swath of science fiction stories that are
Right.
being written.
Because if like the Christian centric of it all, it's like, oh, God must have also made these
Yes.
aliens and in his image. And if we're in his image, they must be similar to us.
Exactly. And who was very famous for saying poo, patoo to that? A certain Charles Darwin. That's right. In 1859, Charles Darwin publishes On the Origin of the Species and posits his theory of evolution. And suddenly, not only does this change the science for people who are looking into these things, this changes the fiction for people because they begin thinking, wait, like if carrots evolved, like what if carrots were the dominant species on another planet? Like what if, and so that starts a long line of fiction in which people start writing about aliens that don't look like us, that do not have our attributes, that do not have our society, and do not have our culture. And obviously the most famous one of that are the Martians in H.G. Wells' The War of the Worlds, which was written in 1898. And essentially, like, not only does he create, using Darwinian evolution, not only does he create a non-humanoid alien species, but also explores the implications of what that evolution would do to those aliens. And even though these Martians appear to be very predatory to people and a threat to our survival, they struggle against our gravity because they did not prepare for it, the thicker atmosphere, and they eventually are killed because of bacteria. And H.G. Wells is writing this as like a critique of British imperialism, but also applying these scientific ideals to this alien species that he's created.
Yeah, and it's funny that how that story has survived. I mean, the Spielberg version is, I would say, pretty like amazing. It's really quickly using aliens in the political context,
Right.
which I think is really important.
I was gonna say in that one, like the metaphor is no longer British imperialism, it's 9/11 and war.
Mm-hmm.
And so like it just shows how fertile that story is to adapt to each generation. And obviously, neither of us are probably prepared to talk about the War of the Worlds that came out this year that's all set on a computer screens, but that is a thing that exists.
But LOL,
Exactly.
the question of like, are we alone?
Yes.
Could there possibly be other people or other intelligent beings out there? The more we learned about space and exploring space, these questions obviously just lead to more questions. And if there are people or there are other beings, are they looking for us? Are they
Right.
like us? If we're not alone, should we be afraid? Are they friendly? Uh, yeah, I think as technology keeps progressing, it's that kind of like fun Jurassic Park thing of like, is it good to have like more
Right.
life, or is it like fucked up and are we shot to hell?
And from there, like obviously, like as these genres become more popular, we get pulp magazines, we get comic books are dealing with these issues. Amazing Stories introduces the first space operas into the canon and whatnot. So you're really getting all these different aspects where people are writing about it. And a lot of these people are sticking specifically to the solar system and not really thinking outside of that. Like, but once again, it's sort of that, like, what can you see and how does that affect you?
Right.
Uh, the most important fictionalized modern alien invasion thing that sort of kicks it off and doesn't receive enough credit for it is actually the Eternaut, which is by Argentine writer Hector German Osterheld. I actually have a copy of it back here. It's this big book over here. It's a serialized alien newspaper strip that was collected into a book, and it like basically deals with imperialism, colonialism, military dictatorship, which was happening in Argentina at the time. And it depicts four different types of aliens, large insects aliens, human-like aliens, a kind of beast-like aliens, and ones known as them, who you never see and sort of act within the shadows. And this really like ends up inspiring a lot of things, even though it does not get the credit for it. There has been an adaptation of the Eternaut that just came out this year on Netflix as a miniseries. I have not watched it, but I did want to say one of my favorite working directors, Lucrecia Martel, for years was attempting to adapt it into a film, and I would have loved to have seen her adaptation.
The Eternaut. I've never
Yes.
heard of that before.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's great. I really recommend reading it. It was just reprinted a couple years ago in its entirety. There's also several real world factors that are occurring during these times as well, too, that is sparking interest amongst people. In 1947, there's the very famous Roswell incident in which it is claimed a spaceship crashes on Earth and the government covers it up. If none of you have ever been to Roswell, New Mexico, it's so good. And I've been there twice. I've been to the UFO Museum and Research Center both times. The second time I was there, I actually ended up there during the anniversary that they do like an alien festival every year around the anniversary. Did not realize it. So many alien celebrities, as though like people that have been claimed to have been abducted. It's a really good time. And also, I did think what was really funny is the second time I went there, their exhibit on hoaxes, proven hoaxes, was much smaller, which I think was kind of a you know how when people say like a recession indicator, that was an indicator to me that like maybe things are not going well in the country.
The hoax indicator.
Yeah, they're like, actually, some of these were real, guys.
I've also been to Roswell, like as a child, and
Ooh.
it was weird and like, but fun. And like, if and anyone who's like in the U.S. and looking for like a silly place to go, like you should check out Roswell. It's so interesting. And like you're saying, like all the hoaxes and all the things that people were really like, do they believe it? Are they so whatever? It's fun.
Also, I would just recommend because I love New Mexico, but also I would just recommend because Roswell feels like an anomaly anyways, because it really, other than the fact that I was like New Mexico textures and New Mexico temperatures, it felt like I was in Vermont. I was like, this is very weird.
Yes, they're a farming community.
Also, on June 24th of 1947, Kenneth Arnold, a private pilot from Idaho, reported seeing 9 circular flying objects that were moving at supersonic speed near Washington's Mount Rainier. And this was like half a century after War of the Worlds had been serialized in Pearson's magazine. And this was years after the 1938 version of War of the Worlds was done by Orson Welles over the radio, which sparked a lot of panic and whatnot. And this is in 1947 when the term flying saucers was really coined because of the Kenneth Arnold incident where he sort of named them and whatnot. So like it's bleeding over from pop culture into, I guess this is still technically pop culture, but the government actually like put money into documenting these cases. They called it Project Blue Book, and they analyzed more than 12,000 sightings between 1952 and 1969, and 700 of those cases were left unexplained.
I think it's like what's so interesting is aliens are similar to, like the other episodes we've done, witches, um, zombies, vampires. Like there is always like this little kernel of like this human thing that was weird that happened, and like there were people like where this lore comes from, and then we kind of like expounded on that.
Yeah.
The alien story though is like it's deeply inhuman. Like there's some like I experienced something that I can't explain, and it like there's lights in the sky, and so there's so much that we build upon this, and so it and specific. I mean, even like this past year with the government doing these like panels of like, oh yeah, P.S. like those were things we couldn't explain or whatever. Like it doesn't feel like lore about vampire or like Frankenstein is like continuing to grow, but
Right.
aliens it they are continuing to grow. Like and that's so crazy to me.
Well, part of that is, much like we said in those episodes, a lot of those fears come from stuff that we've now been able to explain away. Like,
Yes.
and I use this example all the time, but like, we're never like, oh, all my sheep were eaten in the night. It must have been a man who turned into a wolf and ate them. No, we're just
Right.
like Occam's razor. It was a fucking wolf.
Right.
Like, and
Could it have been those wolves I saw earlier? I don't
right,
know.
right. No, no, it was my neighbor Kenny.
Uh-huh.
And, uh, exactly. And but for aliens, it becomes much more of a thing. And I'm not trying to. I'm very much a skeptic. I'll be perfectly honest. Do I think this universe is so big that there couldn't possibly be other life? Sure. Like and that's amazing to me, and that'd be amazing to me if someday we found it. Uh, I will say, do I feel like they have any interest in visiting here, especially right fucking now? I would think the hell not. I would
They said,
think
babe,
they,
keep driving, keep going. We're not
yeah,
gonna stay here.
exactly. Just
No.
just passing. 1961, the Barney and Betty Hill incident took place in real life. This was not well, depending on what you believe, not a fictionalized account about people that were abducted by aliens and subjected to invasive experiments. And after that happened, much like you were just saying, one thing happens, it leads to a domino effect. Suddenly, there were many cases of people saying, "Hey, this thing happened to me. I have this thing I can't explain. Like something came to me in the night. It took me from my house," and that grabs people's imagination. Also, from the Hills, not the TV show The Hills, though that would be hilarious. From from the Hills description of aliens is where we get the sort of iconoclastic view of what aliens look like, because they describe them as having oversized heads with big eyes, pale gray skin, and small noses. And like that, TV, comic books, films, everybody runs with that. Like that is how aliens look to humans now.
Right. They're called like gray men, right?
Yes, correct.
And so it's either
And
like the gray man or like the little green man. Like those are like the two kind of like
exactly.
in a weird twist. Like this is like maybe the one um like spooky subject we covered where they have like two iconic looks.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
like or like color palettes. I don't know.
And it's really in the second half of the 20th century where the ball just like it started as one thing and it rolled downhill and it just kept going. And as you mentioned, it sort of infiltrates every part of the pop culture. You get Superman, you get E.T. the extraterrestrial, you get Star Trek in the 60s, you get Star Wars in the 70s, the Close Encounters of the Third Kind, um, Alien, which in the 70s like really brings back the idea of like what if it wasn't hunky dory? Like what if
Uh-huh.
we're going to get in contact with something that we're not ready to be in contact with and is suited to killing us.
I mean, speaking of contact, like, there's also this like religious thing that is also kind of running through this. I think Contact is a good example of this. I also, one of the earliest alien movies I ever saw was Red Planet. Um,
Yeah.
and like both of those movies are more like finding the higher power and like not that they're God per se, but like giving purpose for like you are so small and insignificant in this life, but if you can like transcend and be open and believe in this thing that no one else believes. Like you can be touched and see the like, life from a billion angles. And that's like a very spiritual religious thing, you know? And I think that kind of lens is also really interesting. And again, kind of like showcases like how this can be like manipulated into so many different things. I think it's so interesting.
And that goes, I think like that is also sort of explored, even though not particularly well, Star Wars a bit more, because Star Wars is actually heavily about religion, but
Yeah.
like the that goes into like the Star Trek and the Star Wars about it, the sort of utopian aspect, because it doesn't, when you're watching Star Wars, admittedly Star Wars is about people that are not us at all, like it's literally a
Mhm.
galaxy far away, or far far away. You rarely watch Star Wars and are like, wow, there's people like discriminating based on who these aliens are and what they look like, and like it's more like a weirdly utopian society, even though it's a fascist dictatorship. And
Right.
Star Trek, it's the same. It's a future in which like we've done away with prejudice, and we're like our main goal is the improvement of society as a whole and learning and whatnot. And I think that to me is both oddly an extension of the religious stuff, but also a pushback against the religious stuff. Because Star Trek famously, like one of the things that people don't like to talk about, much like when you do bring up that Star Trek is a socialist future, but part of that is that the at least the human portion has really moved beyond religion. And
Right.
but there are other alien species that deal with religion. The Bajorans are heavily religious. So
What'd you call me?
yeah, you heard me.
But I
I
also
see your earring.
yes.
You don't get that reference.
No. I also think it's worth mentioning a lot of alien movies are war movies. Um, and like, I mean, hello, Star Wars, but like
Yeah.
a lot of movies, especially now, I think it's like there's really only two like kind of bad guys that you can go after in movies and be safe with selling that movie anywhere. And like even now, like fucking saying you're shooting Nazis is like a political statement, which is wild. But like instead of, in the 80s, it was like, oh, we're going after the Russians or like the Koreans or the Japanese or whatever. Like now it's like aliens. It's all aliens. Not to
Yeah,
go back to Battleship, but like it's let's make a war movie and the bad guy is aliens. It's always aliens.
absolutely.
There's so many movies where it's like what is the political force? What is the like war apparatus of our country, of our planet? And how is that working either in harmony or in disharmony against this big threat? I mean, that's Independence Day, like
Yeah.
it's just a war movie of, like let's blow things up, kick ass, take names, and like we are smarter, better than this invading force that, has pushed us to the brink of humanity.
It's so interesting that you bring that up, because I am gonna dip back into that well in a little bit when we start talking about more movies. But it is very true. There's also, I hate to say it, especially because what drew me to this conclusion is the fact that you were just talking about war. There is this idea that if there ever was an alien invasion or like an alien contact that was in any way threatening, that it would somehow unite society, that it would somehow bring us together as a people, that we would lose our differences and become one, to work together in order to stop whatever was occurring, this invasion or whatever. And the only reason I say that it sort of sucks is that like a lot of the conclusion of that in these movies is, and we all worked together to use our military might to destroy the enemy. And like
Yeah.
that's a tough one, it's rarely about coming together to unite in peace with
Right.
our alien visitors.
Is that, I'm correct if I'm wrong, Close Encounters of a Third Kind, which we talked about in our Spielberg episode,
Yeah.
it does kind of have the vibe of like they're here and people are coming because the other answer that people kind of come to, if it's not like military and war, it's like they're here to save us and let's all come together and like listen to the music and like
Right.
crossing all cultures and like, geography. It's like we've been chosen, like the hippie kind of response to it.
But there is a darkness in that movie, and I think it's often because the ending feels that way. I think it's often not thought of the fact that like the aliens had been abducting people for years and and keeping them.
That's
And
true.
and they release a lot of them at the end are unaged, and like that's a fucked up thing. And not that I ever want not that I ever want a follow up, a direct follow up to Close Encounters of the Third Kind, but it's one of those things where I wonder, like, what's that like 1940s pilot gonna do suddenly thrust into like the early 80s?
But that there, I'm not making this up, right? There are like scenes of like hordes of people like with colorful flags, like
Yes.
wanting like coming together.
And by the way, I meant late 70s, whatever. But yes, no, you're right. It is, there are people there that like figure out that the alien is like, it's not hordes and hordes of people because the military did try and keep it secret, but the aliens have been calling to certain people.
Right.
And so like they've been seeing the visions of the Devil's Tower and knowing to go there.
Speaking of Devil's Tower, it reminds me of Escape to Witch Mountain, which is literally about little twins who are aliens. Imagine the
Exactly.
concept of your movie being like, what if twins are aliens?
But you can't prove it's wrong, Louis. And I just
I
want to
can't.
say that from the bottom of my heart. Every time I look at a twin, I'm like, alien.
Alien. Get
Yeah.
you to Witch Mountain and get out of here.
Exactly. I'm speed dialing Will Smith. I'm calling up Gillian Anderson, getting her here.
That's a good point. The X-Files. What a huge
X-Files is
cultural
huge.
moment. Huge moment.
And huge in the fact that like not only was it about aliens, but it was also scary. But a main tenet of that show was literally, I want to believe. I want to believe that there is something out there, that there is something bigger than this, that we are not alone, and whatever it is, like we will find a way to communicate with it. We will find a way to the truth. I do think there is, and maybe we haven't pressed upon this either, or maybe this goes back to the religion element, but there is a part of extraterrestrials, aliens, that we see as the truth. We see as like this hidden thing that has been kept from us. And in the pursuit of knowledge, we hope that like in receiving this, that like we will be elevated as well. We will understand, enlightened. Exactly. And that's,
And
that speaks to what you were saying about religion.
right, because like if you can imagine that there is a species out there that can travel through time and space or whatever and can assimilate. That's another thing. I mean, I think there's this whole idea of like an alien that is able to pass as one of us is a very
Yeah.
scary thing. And kind of like the Martian Manhunter of it all, like just like, they walk among us. That kind of vibe of like, and that's going back to Superman. Like that is the classic immigrant tell, like we are everyday people are assimilating into our culture. And so if you're thinking about like assimilating into a human culture who has some sort of like extraterrestrial power that, feels dangerous or wrong, or, that nationalistic thing of like, you're not even human.
Right.
You piece of shit. Alien! That is where you've always been wrong about me, Lex. I'm as human as anyone. I love, I get scared. I wake up every morning and despite not knowing what to do, I put one foot in front of the other and I try to make the best choices I can. I screw up all the time. But that is being human. And that's my greatest strength.
We live in a time in which we dehumanize actual other humans.
Yeah.
Let alone having to deal with something that might not be 100% exactly like us. And that's a fascinating thing, because as you were saying that, I was thinking about the fact that like so many stories are one of a two-part binary, where it's either humans trying to figure out who is the alien so they can get to when it comes to this idea of the assimilation, like who's the alien, we can weed them out, we can separate them, we can get them out of but there's also the reverse of that, where the story is about the alien who's like, oh fuck, I have to hide that I am an alien, because if I don't, a farmer's gonna bash my head in with a shovel. And so there is this little bit that sort of moves back and forth of this idea of like, people are dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, and that's and all those ideas I think are like kind of really well put together in Men in Black, like, or at least the original one, where it's like, we're not hearing the stories of like these guys who are like literally living every day in their like human suits,
Yeah.
who are just kind of like hanging out, chilling. ostensibly because they can't be on their home planet anymore, or refugees, whatever. But then there's also like the bad guys who are taking advantage of that and like, shooting things up or whatever, eating people, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, super interesting.
I do want to say, because we are a film podcast, we should talk about some of the more, and we don't have to hit everything, every single movie. I mean, it would take us hours and hours to talk about every single movie, but I do think there's like sort of flashpoints. The very first film to depict alien life is A Trip to the Moon, directed by Georges Méliès. It is based off of From the Earth to the Moon. If you've ever, like, I mean, A, if you've been to a film school, you've seen this movie. But B, if you haven't seen this movie, but you have seen the Smashing Pumpkins video for Tonight, that's a direct riff on it. It's the face and the moon and whatnot. And they go to the moon and there's the little jumping aliens and they hit them with their umbrellas and they explode and whatnot. It's great. You can find it anywhere. It's public domain. Look it up on YouTube. It's not a waste of your time. From the early part of the 20th century, there's not a ton. You get a lot of serials. You get like the Flash Gordon serials in 1938, Buck Rogers, which starts in 1939, the Superman serial that starts in 1948. But really, once the atomic age hits, once we're post World War II and we're really concerned about the science of it all and we're really looking to the stars and really trying to figure things out, that's when science fiction and the boom of like alien stories really starts to take over. So basically sort of from 1950 on is when you really start getting these alien films. But I think the most important ones, funny enough, from the early part of the 50s, and there's more, like I said, there's more stuff in the 50s, but the ones to really talk about both come out in 1951, and that is The Day the Earth Stood Still and The Thing from Another World. The Day the Earth Stood Still is, we talked about the remake, unfortunately, in our Keanu Reeves episode.
That movie.
Yeah. The original is directed by Robert Wise, and it is about an alien who comes to Earth and is basically like, he's living among us first, much like we were just talking about. But he's basically, when he reveals himself, he's like, hey, you guys got to change your ways. Because if you don't, this is all going to stop. Well, like, I will make sure this stops. You're done as a species. You're too big of a threat to everybody. And if you don't, like, clean up your act. I think it's so funny that one of the first major big films about aliens is literally an alien coming down to be like, you guys are fucking it up.
Yeah. Nice try, but maybe wrap it up, guys.
Yeah, exactly. We got to do something else. Shut it down.
I came here to give you these facts. It is no concern of ours how you run your own planet. But if you threaten to extend your violence, this Earth of yours will be reduced to a burned-out cinder.
It's also very easy to find. I remember watching this as a kid and it kind of like blowing my mind. I was like, whoa, like there's, on the reverse side of that, you have The Thing from Another World, which was directed by Christian Nyby, and it was produced by Howard Hawks. But The Thing from Another World is about a research station in the Arctic, or maybe it's Alaska. I literally just watched this, but my brain is drawing a blank. Where a group of scientists and soldiers discover a downed spaceship, and inside of it is an alien, which then comes to life and tries to kill them all. This
Classic.
This film is famously remade as John Carpenter's The Thing. We'll probably talk about that later. But it's funny because that is such a different presentation of alien, because really this alien is a malevolent being. I mean, literally one of the first things he does when he comes out of ice, you see him is like throwing dogs around and killing them. You find out that he's like a plant life, but he feeds on blood. So they all have reasons to fear him. And the one doctor character that's like, no, we should try and communicate with these people. We should try and like figure out what their deal is and like present ourselves as peaceful. It, of course, is like totally just destroyed by the alien.
Yeah,
because
ripped apart.
Yeah, exactly.
You're wiser than anything on Earth. Use that intelligence. Look at me and know what I'm trying to tell you. I'm not your enemy. I'm a scientist. I'm a scientist who's trying.
You're really like receiving this idea, this sort of anti-science idea that's like might is right and like don't reason, just protect yourselves. Like literally the last lines of the movie are look up, watch the skies, wherever you are, watch the skies, you know, that and so it's like this warning that there's a boogeyman out there and it's going to come get us, which obviously perfectly applies to a Halloween theme.
There is a little shop of horrors where a plant will want to eat you. An alien plant.
Which also, I was going to say that is an alien movie. Little Shop of Horrors. You get many things throughout the 50s. The Quatermass Experiment, which is early Hammer horror. I love the Quatermass Experiment. I actually particularly love the second Quatermass. You get 1956's Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Classic, exactly. It is the ultimate in the Red Scare. They're living among us. They're trying to change us. They're ruining our values. You know, they're coming in and they're teaching us not to be emotional and whatnot, which hilarious because like that's so they're just men.
No emotion. Then you have no feelings. Only the instinct to survive. You can't love or be loved, am I right?
You say it as if it were terrible. Believe me, it isn't. You've been in love before. It didn't last. It never does. Love, desire, ambition, faith. Without them, life's so simple. Believe me.
I think Invasion of the Body Snatchers is sort of fascinating because it does not... It's funny because it's based on a book that actually has like a happy ending, and every version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers does not choose to use the happy ending.
And there's a remake, right? Like in the 70s.
There's several remakes. There's one in the 70s. There's one in the 90s. There's one in the 2000s. Yes. It is a very heavily remade film. I did not rewatch the original one for this, even though I really should have, because I really do like these movies. Also, hilarious. The last time I was in Spain, I was at a very fancy restaurant and they had a signed picture on the wall that said Kevin McCarthy, which at the time was a horrible Republican senator or congressperson. And I was like, what the fuck? Why would they? And then I looked closer. I was like, oh, the star of the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers is Kevin McCarthy. Yes, that's him.
His name has been forsaken.
Yes. But that is a movie about pod people. That comes the idea that like that
you can be replaced.
These aliens will come in, they'll replace you, you will die and go away, and you'll be replaced by this alien duplicate who does not show emotion, and that they will become the dominant force of the species. So this is that warning. And like I said, it is really a Red Scare movie because it was happening around the Cold War, and it was like, this is what happens if the Russians come in. This is what they're going to change us and change our society and make us like them. And it's funny because I love this story and I love this movie, and I except for the 2000s ones, shockingly, seemingly love every version of this movie, but do think it comes kind of from a shitty like idea that we just can't ever coexist.
Right. Yeah, that idea of like, it is good to be careful about who you trust and who you share yourself with and your community with, because it's very fragile. And there are people out there who do not believe in what you believe and will take advantage of that. And like, it's certainly not an optimistic view on life.
It's funny if we do just so we cover all of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. If we do want to cover them, I don't know if you watched any adaptation or if you've seen. And by the way, this comes from a story that was in Collier's magazine by Jack Finney called The Body Snatchers that was written in 1954. So this was a relatively quick adaptation because it came out in 1956. As I mentioned, there is a 1978 adaptation, which I think is even more kind of classic in a way. Donald Sutherland, Leonard Nimoy's in that
Jeff
because once
Goldblum.
again, young Jeff Goldblum, young, woo. Also in Thank God It's Friday. Speaking of Deborah Winger,
There,
young
yes.
Jeff Goldblum.
Face it, Belichick. You've got some friends who enjoy playing practical jokes.
I don't have any friends, Dr. Kibner.
Then some enemies.
I love the 70s version. I think 70s version is the one I grew up with. There's scenes in it that I absolutely remember being like terrified of. The like pointing and the screeching, which is then carried over into the next remake, which is not from the original. That when Donald Sutherland does it in the 70s version is horrifying. But that idea of like feeling also that you're not conforming to this other society and therefore are like a disease that needs to be wiped out is also a huge part of that. So yeah, 78 is great. The one I really watched for this because I had never seen it was the Abel Ferrara 1993 version, just called The Body Snatchers, which famously has Meg Tilly in it, and she delivers maybe one of the scariest lines in cinema.
Where are you gonna go? Where are you gonna run? Where are you gonna hide? Nowhere. Because there's no one like you left. That's right.
Yeah, and apparently that was Meg Tilly's idea. Apparently it was not in the script, and she's like, I have some ideas, and Abel Ferrara was like, great, let's do it. And it becomes like the most famous thing in it. And it's so good and so chilling. And what I found really interesting about the 90s version is both the original version and the 70s version and the book are about community and like a community being taken over, kind of a more like isolated community, not completely isolated, but like a small community. And the 90s version is set in an army base in Alabama. And I think it's really playing with the ideas of like not being able to tell what is a duplicate because of the regimented society that the armed forces bring about them. So it makes it easier for this species to hide amongst them because it's not as clear about who's not being emotional and whatnot. But also, I think it's really playing with ideas of fascism in a deeper way than almost as if fascism is sort of ingrained into society. Because there's a scene where Arlie Emery, who's basically playing the Leonard Nimoy role, which is also hilarious because he was famous for screaming and he's having to play somebody who can't feel emotions. He confronts Forrest Whitaker, young Forrest Whitaker, and he says, "We do it all for the race." And so like that implies a very specific form of fascism. And Forrest Whitaker kills himself. And right before he does, he says, no, sometimes the individual is more than the collective before he kills himself. And I think it's this interesting idea of like, what if there is no good guy? What if everybody believes in a form of fascism on their own? Because really you need community to stop these creatures. You need to be able to talk to each other. You need to be able to really suss it out. And you can't fight it by yourself. You can't be the one individual fighting it. And I think that's really fascinating that the 90s film was like, actually, like maybe neither society is that particularly great. Godzilla crosses over into the alien movie. You get the Mysterians, Attack of the 50-Foot Woman in 1958, The Blob. I love The Blob. I especially love the 80s remake, but I just want to talk a little bit about The Blob because The Blob really represents all throughout the 50s when there's an alien in a movie, it's like a person in a suit, you know? And John Carpenter talked about this when he remade The Thing. Like aliens were just men in suits and he didn't want that. And I think what's fascinating about The Blob is it really posits the first filmic alien that's like, oh, this is a thing. It can't be reasoned with. It's just, it is a thing. It's coming to us. It's going to consume us. It's going to eat everything. And yeah, it's a bit silly because in the original, it just looks like a jello mold. Like it's a lot of jelly, but it's this idea that it can sort of get you anywhere and there's no reasoning with it. There's no stopping it.
It's all consuming.
Yeah, absolutely. The 80s remake is underappreciated, so fucking good, super gross. Like one of the most gross movies you will ever see. Like the way the Blob, and I think the difference is in terms of like the Blob itself is that it's like basically strawberry milkshake mix versus, but the stuff they do with it, the way that like it like eats people and dissolves them, and yeah,
I just fully got to chill just right now. That's crazy.
it's so good. I highly recommend the 80s version.
We need a schematic of the sewer system. We'll contain it down there. I want that organism alive.
What about the civilians?
They're expendable.
Village of the Damned. Like, I don't know if we ever talked about Village of the Damned, but like that is a very specific alien. Oh no, we did. We talked about the remake in our John Carpenter episode. But that's a very specific alien fear about an alien spaceship that comes over, knocks all the women out, and impregnates them with these like creepy alien children who are there to replace us. That like this bodily invasion is a huge thing that is terrifying to people.
Well, I think also like the idea, we didn't talk about this, but like sex, like, well, I mean, I don't know. I watched Species and I was like, wow, this is really about like sex and maternity and like, I mean, the joke of like how there's little aliens sucking your life out and you give birth to these like little creatures. Like I think there's a lot of anxiety around that and this idea of, you know, and Village of the Damned is a very good example of this. I remember this now from John Carpenter. But it's like, yeah, children are fucking terrifying and sometimes they do feel like aliens and like you can't understand them, and why can't you reason with these fucking kids who are acting crazy? And so yeah, super interesting.
And I think that's played with a bit in some of these movies as well too, like being afraid of your own creation of the thing. Like that goes back to the Frankenstein thing.
Yeah,
you know,
100%.
being afraid of the thing that you, especially if you think that it like came from an invasive thing that happened to you that you didn't have control over.
Right.
Yeah. Terrifying. This was really scary.
I mean, even like with the alien, like the concept of a being bursting out of your stomach, like that is inherently a, you know, it's a message about like, you know, the things that we do with our bodies, like it's visceral and gross and like, you know, it is okay to be scared of, you know, pregnancy and like what that would do to your body, because that's like a very real thing.
And also not just for women or, you know, people with
a womb.
Yeah, a womb. People with a womb, like also specifically for men, Alien is about the fear of penetration. It's about the rape and the and especially for men who think like this whole birthing process can't happen to them or people without wombs, but it can when it's something from an outside that some biologically isn't compatible with us and doesn't match up in any way, shape, or form. Like I said, there's so many movies. I mean, Santa Claus Conquers the Martians in 1964. You get Doctor Who, which is created in the 1960s. The one that I see that I really want to talk about just a tiny bit is Planet of the Vampires, which was a Mario Bava film and is the film that like is heavily Alien steals from a lot, like pretty liberally, and like the people that wrote Alien said that they never saw it and it had nothing to, but like literally it's about like a spaceship that finds another spaceship with a giant alien inside of it and it starts infecting all of them and they all start becoming the thing. And yeah, but also just because Planet of the Vampires also just looks so fucking cool. Everybody's dressed like it's the 2000 X-Men's movie. Like it's a very cool, very chic movie, even though it is about aliens using animated corpses to kill the other survivors.
It does look very chic.
Yeah, it's great. I highly recommend Planet of the Vampires. It's so much fun. I'm really barreling towards like the end of the 60s where you get 2001: A Space Odyssey, which occurs in 1968. and directed by Stanley Kubrick. And it presents to us an alien intelligence that is ancient and all-knowing and maybe like just one massive drug trip. And yeah, I don't know how to describe 2001: A Space Odyssey.
It's just like a visual feast, an auditory feast. It's an experience, like an experiential assault on all the senses. But like, I think it captures that feeling of like, we're so small, this universe and beyond is so big, and like there's so much we can't know that we're never going to know. So yeah,
and that it's almost important for us not to know. Like, like it's important for us not to have all the answers. And I think that's an idea that movie deals with the like ambiguity of everything.
Well, it's also like this idea, there's a very human idea of like, we're gonna go explore, we're gonna adventure, we're gonna like conquer the thing. And it's like, I think alien movies broadly are like, sometimes there are consequences to that. Like, you stay in your fucking lane. Like, you don't need to be going out here, like, mind your business, human earthlings.
And there's also the idea of like, can you find God if you were to believe that the aliens in 2001 have something to do with our creation, while also attempting to be God yourself, because they created HAL 9000, an AI that turns evil, which was created like in their image, quote unquote, in their image. And like, if you can't even create something that can maintain its goodness, how can you be expected to maintain your own goodness? Is there a such thing as good in the world, or is it all about like the perceived protection and survival and the selfishness of that? 1975, the aforementioned Escape to Witch Mountain. Twins are aliens. 1975 also brings us everybody's favorite alien musical, the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
That's right.
Yes.
The surprise twist of them being aliens.
Exactly. They are sweet transvestites from transsexual Transylvania, and they are headed back because Frankenfurter, it's all over. Your mission is a failure. Your lifestyle is too extreme.
Gavin, take a nap.
No, I can't.
I can't.
One of my favorites, The Man Who Fell to Earth, comes out in 1976. It's a Nicholas Roeg film starring David Bowie, the Starman himself. We mentioned Close Encounters of the Third Kind, 1977. Star Wars: A New Hope comes out in 1977. And really, like, this is sort of, like I said, it's where the idea of aliens starts to change until Invasions of Body Snatchers in 1978, the remake, which comes and like ruins that idea that we could possibly coexist in a space opera type way. And that's only compounded into the next year when Alien comes out in 1979, directed by Ridley Scott.
The first two, I think, are really great, really fun, really gross. The third is beyond silly. But
I like the third one, but I understand where you're coming from.
This type of like alien movie specifically, like there's like this secret third version of like, this is just like a creature. It's a creature movie, like where it's like, you know, this movie is less about the alien specifically, and it's more about the people. Because like the alien, like they don't really have like they're not like, time to go to Earth and like fuck things up. Like, they're just like, what are you doing here? I'm gonna eat you now because I'm a hungry creature guy. Like, it's there's no story for the alien specifically, even though I mean this IP is now been going on forever, and there's a billion backstories about like whatever. But like, there is alien movies broadly where it's like, it's just a creature guy, and like, you fucked at the wrong place, you found the wrong thing, and now it's time to die, period.
Well, it's an interesting combination of elements, making him a tough little son of a bitch.
And you let him in.
I was obeying a direct order, remember?
Ash, when Dallas and Kane are off the ship, I'm senior officer.
Oh, yes, I forgot.
You also forgot the Science Division's basic quarantine law.
No, that I didn't forget.
Oh, I see. You just broke it.
It's so funny, too, because Ridley Scott talked about how his frame of reference into the film was not previous science fiction movies and not alien movies, and it was haunted house movies. And really it plays a lot like that. It's like the omnipresent thing. You never know where it is. Is it the creek behind you? Is it the, you know, the
Lurking.
thing? Yeah, exactly. The thing over your shoulder, something above you. And I think that really works for that particularly. And obviously, like, every sequel has tried to do something different. The second movie is much more of an action movie. The third movie's, you know, dour, I guess is but yeah, so like, but it sort of sets this template for how we see aliens that are threatening, that are
Right.
out to destroy us, that we can't communicate. And you're right, it's not like, it's never about communicating with the alien. It's not trying to figure out
No.
its deeper purpose or meaning or message.
And it's also very like brood type stuff, right? Like,
Yeah.
because we get the queen, I'm like, oh, it's also like insecty type vibes. Like, correct. I don't think, were there other insect type aliens before Alien? Really?
I mean, I no, I don't know how to answer that, but there's nothing quite like the H.R. Geiger-ness of these aliens
Yeah.
beforehand.
Right, because like I think like nowadays it's like you either get like the gray man or the green aliens, or you get like robot-y type technological
Yeah.
things, or bugs essentially. And I think xenomorphs kind of like land in the bug type arena, like creaturey. Um, or you get like the light, the spiritual kind of like misty type etherealness thing. But yeah, I like the Alien series. I did not. There's just so much, and I was like, I don't. And from what I've heard, like the newer ones, it's like
I
okay,
did like the new TV show, I will say, and I'm curious to see where it goes. But yeah,
cool.
I agree. I is kind of diminishing returns, in all honesty. We got Superman in 78, Star Trek the Motion Picture in 79 when Star Trek moves to film. And I think, I think we're really in one of two territory, which is you either get the like space opera, Star Wars, Star Trek-y, or you get the alien patterned, like it's a monster and it's gonna eat us.
Yeah.
Even the Flash Gordon movie, which comes out in 1980, is like taking a lot of the like stuff that we learned from Star Wars and its upcoming sequel and Superman 2. I think it's really not until E.T. in 1982 that the idea of like the bringing it back to like these visitors, and like maybe we should be more tolerant, and maybe there is another species out there out in the universe that wants to be kind to us.
Yeah, to communicate, to like
Yeah.
the idea of like neighbors and like, but also I mean in ET it's the same thing though, where it's like there's a government agency that like wants to take whatever secrets these visitors might have for their own gain, which is like kind of like over and over again. Yeah, I will say I obviously have seen ET. I don't have the emotional connection to ET that most people have.
I don't either.
I'm like, I think Spielberg is great, beautiful music, pretty pictures, but I'm like, okay,
Sure. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
great.
yeah. I feel the same way, and I feel like it's not it's sort of an uncouth thing to say. But
Right.
I've always felt the same way, where I'm kind of like, yeah, it's a thing. And yeah,
It's cute. It's
it's
cute.
cute.
I am sure if I would have seen it as a child, I would be obsessed, but that doesn't happen. So on to the next.
Well, in the same year, you get John Carpenter's The Thing, which does not feature a cuddly alien. And actually, they think that the reason that it sort of failed at the box office was because E.T. came out the same year. Also, we were in like a recession as well. And it's kind of, it's a much more
downer.
Yeah, it's a downer. It's a much darker movie. Critters in 86.
That's right. Critters.
Yeah, little chomping guys. They're gonna eat everything. Little Shop of Horrors, also in 86, the musical. Predator in 87. Alien Nation in 88, which then like goes on to become a TV show. I mean that movie's about immigration. Like that's it.
Right. I think Predator is an interesting and funny, like, and kind of like big cultural moment, just because, like, number one, it was like Predator versus Schwarzenegger, which is like kind of funny. But like, it's interesting how that IP has changed over time. I think it was the Prey prequel thing was like
Yeah.
an interesting take on that. I think it's very funny that they did like Alien versus Predator thing and tried to like give lore about how the predators put the aliens here to hunt them and whatever. The movie's silly Billy fun. Sanaa Lathan, I was like, girl, what are you doing here? Like, but fun. I'm not mad. And also like Predator is like one of the rare aliens where started as bad guys and have kind of come around and be like, oh, they're just like a proud race of like
Right.
warriors.
It's just so
and like,
proud.
yeah, and they just want to hunt. Okay, let them hunt.
Exactly.
Also in '88, They Live.
They Live, exactly. How can you not love They Live? Speaking of John Carpenter, it's so funny. I never think of. I think because our brains are so wired to leap to like Halloween, I never think of John Carpenter as an alien guy. But like They Live, Starman, The Thing, like he really the Ghost of Mars, like he really is an alien guy.
Yes, he's an alien guy for sure.
We mentioned the Blob remake in '88. Earth Girls Are Easy in 1988, everybody's favorite musical about aliens coming to seduce Gina Davis.
Is that also Jeff Goldblum in that movie?
It is.
Yes.
And a very young Jim Carrey and Damon Wayans as
That's
his
right.
sidekicks.
Who are they?
Who? Those guys?
Yeah.
A band?
Boy, totally clear.
What's up, Dad?
You mean like a rock and roll band? What are you doing with the band, Val?
I won them on MTV. I won an MTV Weekend with a Band.
Hi, I am Mac. How's it hanging, Mr. Dude?
Dr. Dude.
Dr. Dude.
Oh no, Val. Wait a minute. Listen, I came home to talk to you alone.
My Stepmother is an Alien, '88. You're starting to get more alien comedies. People are starting to chill out a little bit about the threateningness of aliens. But on the reverse side of that, you also get the Chiodo Brothers 1988 Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which is a fun little. That's a movie that genuinely terrified me as a child, but I actually think is a lot more fun now that I'm an adult. I do want to bring up one from 1989 that I watched for this that was insane. And that's a little 1989 movie called Communion, which is based off of the book Communion from 1987 by Wesley Strieber. It's by Whitley Strieber. It is a movie in which Christopher Walken plays Whitley Strieber himself, a struggling writer who starts receiving visits from aliens, abductions from aliens, probes from aliens, and slowly begins to realize that it's hereditary, essentially. Like his father was visited by aliens. His son will start being visited by these aliens. And the aliens in the movie kind of look like little rhinoceros type guys in nun uniforms. But then also some of them look like the very traditional gray aliens, and they have like wobbly arms and they float through the air. And then there's one that looks like the like TikTok robot from Return to Oz that just are. There's so many scenes where Christopher Walken is just dancing with these aliens and like
love that.
Yeah, it's wild.
He's in his element. His element of dancing. He's a dancer.
It's not a good movie. Eric Clapton did the score, which is maybe the most interesting thing about it, except fuck Eric Clapton because he's like a crazy conservative. But Wesley Strieber, I guess at one point when they were making the movie, told Christopher Walken that he was making him seem too crazy, and Christopher Walken responded with, "If the shoe fits." So, like,
yeah, well,
Is that someone there? You know, I see you. I'm seeing someone there. I don't think I like this.
It's going fine.
Get out!
It's going fine.
Away! Get away! Out! Get out! Get away!
Communion is a wild time, and I'm not saying don't watch it. Just know that it's not good.
Okay.
Body Snatchers in '93, which I mentioned, Coneheads, which I have a deep soft spot for that I loved
Absolutely.
as a kid.
If
Yeah.
you're an elder millennial, young Gen X person, Coneheads means a lot.
Yeah, it played on Comedy Central all the time. I say Narful the Garthug all the time. Fire in the Sky, which I think is maybe the most important alien movie from the 90s, which is not to say that I think it is a great movie. I don't by any means. But the alien abduction scenes in it are so graphic and horrifying. They terrified me as a kid. And I was maybe like 10. If you want to see like some of the most fucked up representations of an alien abduction in a movie, it'll mess with you. Species from 95. Species, I think, I think, it was very popular at the time because it's very sexy and whatnot. But I think also it really does capture or recapture something up from the movie Alien that had been missing from that nobody else had been able to sort of recreate. And it loses its way kind of through, but
Yeah. It's like definitely like, I mean, I was surprised. I thought it was gonna be like very dumb. It's not dumb. I mean, there's like some dumb things like there's no reason why this alien like hot girlie should have like vines coming out of her boobs.
Right.
Like, but it is not everything kind of tracks. It's like, oh, they tried splitting the genetic material of an alien with like a human and like made it into like this woman because they wanted to like, control her. And now she's like, and the whole vibe is that like they grow up really fast and she's like only 2 months old, but she's like a full grown woman and wants to like have babies. And so she's like hitting the clubs and, and I just think it's a very interesting like dissection of like, sex culture and like wanting to hook up and like the people who are chasing them are also like falling in love and like wanting to hook up and kind of like the danger of that and like the danger of women being out like trying to find mates and all that and the scariness of that. I was pleasantly surprised.
It also plays with that thing that I think men were really trying to play with in the 90s, specifically sort of not to invoke Joss Whedon since he's been canceled, but like the Joss Whedon thing that he was always trying to project with Buffy, which was that, it's a young blonde cheerleader who's going into an alley being chased by a man and out she comes having been the aggressor instead of because the idea, the like feminist idea is that like the like women can take care of themselves and whatnot. So like in Species, it's like, oh, we made her a woman so she won't be as threatening and whatnot. And then turns out that she's like even more protective and like has more killer instinct because of this survival instinct.
And she can get away with more.
Yes. Yeah.
Because all these people are just like, oh, she's a pretty girl and like,
right,
she's fine. We'll let her go do whatever she
They look
wants.
at her and they devalue her.
Right.
Yeah. Back to back major war movies. You have Independence Day and Mars Attacks, both in 1996.
Important films for the culture.
Absolutely. I saw both of these at the drive-in. Both are absolutely big drive-in movies. I love Mars Attacks. I know it's a mess. It's a
mess, but it's so fun.
Contact in 97 that you brought up before. Maybe one of the most I don't know what realism is in an alien contact movie, but a movie that feels like it's the most interesting version of like what would happen if we started receiving signals from an alien species.
Yeah, and asking the question of like, what do we believe in?
Yeah,
what do we believe? Do we believe in each other? Like, such a good movie. Ugh.
Starship Troopers in 1997. I know you watched this movie for this.
Baby, I mean, I see the movie a lot.
Yeah.
And then I rewatched it again and I was like, I don't know if as a child I was unfully understanding all the satire and like political stuff going on. I was too busy looking at all the butts.
You didn't realize we were the Nazis when you were a kid?
No. I was just like, number one, these bug aliens are scary.
Yeah.
But I was like, everyone here is so hot. It's crazy. What I do also like, I like this movie a lot. Number one, I love I think the satire is so pointed and anyway, I can't imagine. I'm like, people when this came out didn't understand. They thought he was being serious with like the fascism, which
I know
so crazy to me.
But that says a lot about us, right? Like that,
right,
you know?
right.
Some say the bugs were provoked by the intrusion of humans into their natural habitat, that a live and let live policy is preferable to war with the bugs.
Let me tell you something. I'm from Buenos Aires, and I say kill them all! Yeah! Oh, yeah! Yeah! Oh, yeah!
I think it's really smart, really pointed. I think it's like exactly the amount of stupid that it should be. I think, but the Star Trek of it all, like there are people of all colors, all genders, like doing every type of thing in here. And even in the most like, somehow such a masculine movie with such a subversive, um, uh, you know, aesthetic is so strange to me. It's so strange, like, because there's like the dumb space football thing that they're doing, or future football thing that they're doing, but like there's a woman who's a quarterback, like,
right,
and it just is, and like it's able somehow this movie is so diverse and progressive, but manages to avert all woke allegations. Like this movie, like it's such a weird combo recipe that somehow works. I think it's really fun.
It's so funny because what it is it is that idea that like if there was an alien invasion and it did unite the Earth, like what would that unification look like, and would it immediately turn fascist? Would it immediately be like, actually there's only one way of thinking and there's only one way of doing, and like we all have to work together, but it can only be like under this total control.
Right. And I wonder, like, now that we're like talking about it, it's like, oh, it's because like it's all the like, POC right winger people who are like, if you think this way, like Trump is for everybody, and gays love Trump, and like black people love Trump, and Mexicans for Trump. And like, if you are, I mean, I think, yeah, this movie just does so much. I mean, I think the idea of like war movies, and this movie, I think, is very pointed, being like, they will rip you apart and there will be no glory in your death. And like the brutality, the people that come back missing limbs, scarred for life. I think this movie does a really good job of being like, isn't patriotism so fucking stupid, you guys?
Yeah.
That's the message of this movie. Like being a patriot for war and like, fighting, it's so stupid. But it's packaged in this like kind of like Colbert Report type, like,
yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
I've never heard it described that way, but I like it. Yeah. Signs in 2002. I don't have a ton to say about Signs other than I've come around on it in the years. I don't love it. I think its message of faith feels a little hollow in comparison to something like Contact, which I think has a more interesting and nuanced take on faith. And I think that's, for me, where Signs doesn't work. And also just the idea of like, I know War of the Worlds, the aliens didn't like plan for the gravity and whatnot. They didn't plan for the diseases. But to me, it seems silly that if you're bothered by water to go to a planet that's 70% water.
Right. I think like I'm not mad at the faith of it all, but like, I think it's a very kind of like on the nose.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, was he a reverend and then his wife died and so he lost his faith? And then now he's like, I mean, the main crux of that movie though is like, you're what does he say? It's like, you're one of two people. You either believe in miracles, you believe in like blah, 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 or you believe in whatever the thing is. I mean, it's just such, so, I mean, I think M. Night Shyamalan has like often really good ideas and then like really poor writing to kind of like prop those ideas up. And the visual of the crop circles is super interesting. I like, there are some genuinely very scary moments, but like the dialogue of it is so kind of like basic. But that's kind of, I guess, how you get like those big blockbuster movies where everyone's like, oh my god, Sign. Like, it's hard for me to watch Signs though, because all I can think of is Scary Movie. Like,
I know
the satire of it is really, really good. I think we should stop on 2009's District 9.
Yes.
I was like waiting for like the movie to talk about like immigration, like the alien immigration movie. I don't know that like any movie does it as precisely as District 9 does. I had never seen this movie before. I watched it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I think it's really good. First of all, I think it's like interesting. I think to your point about like this is the one that I thought was the most like the zombies that you were mentioning, where it's like, can people fucking get over their shit? Can we work together? Um, it's not scary, I would say. It's not a scary movie.
No.
Um, but it's, I think, like the most aggressively like, oh yeah, if aliens were stranded here and we had to like house them, and like there would be prejudices against them and we would call them like a slur, and like I think the framing of a documentary is like really well done. I think the South Africa apartheid of it all is like really interesting. Um, there's there's a lot of like little things in this movie that I think are just like really rich in storytelling.
I've not watched District 9 since I saw it in the theaters, and I saw it early, I remember at the time, and really liked it a lot, but I've just never revisited it, and I don't really know why that is.
I just think it's interesting, like, there's it for it to happen in a place like South Africa where are, a place that has been colonized, obviously has a history of, oppression, and there's like a white community and a black community. There's like native stuff going on, and then adding in this alien thing. Like it's so interesting. And I think also like kind of really pointed in the same way that Starship Troopers is, like really pointed and like really kind of like some points bordering on silly. The company that they work for is like Municipal United, whatever the fuck. I think also really well thought out. Like, if there is a reason why humans want aliens, what would it be for? Like, it's to steal their fucking weapons.
Yeah.
It's we want their technology. This movie starts with like this ship just hanging out above Johannesburg and just doing nothing. And it's the humans who fucking invade the ship, and they're like fuck shit up there, and they don't want them to leave. They don't let them leave. They're like, nope, we're not going to help you leave. We want all your guns that only you can shoot, and like, let us know what this is about. In 2016, Arrival.
Yes, that was actually going to be the exact place where I stopped next. I love Arrival. I think Arrival is a really, really great movie. Not spooky, really, in any sort of way, but truly, like, man, if Amy Adams could not get an Oscar for Arrival, then I don't know what Amy Adams has to do to get an Oscar.
Yeah, I think like what I love about Arrival, there's a lot of things to love here, is that the aliens, the heptapods, they are kind of spooky. They're menacing, but
only because we don't understand them.
Right, exactly. They're not like softening the edges of like these kind of weird, gross looking creatures, but like it's just kind of like vibes. This movie is like a lot of vibes, and they're like immaculate. And again, the idea of like communicating. I love the idea of like, this is like them wanting to like give us technology. We're not
right.
So yeah, a lot of good stuff in Arrival.
2018, A Quiet Place, which ends up starting its own franchise, unintentionally, I think, but has certainly continued with it.
Attack the Block in 2011, I thought was
oh my god, how did I fucking love Attack the Block. It's so good, and I love specifically it's a beautiful way to do a lo-fi alien invasion movie. And what's really cool is the aliens in that, what they did was, because they wanted them to not be specific, they wanted them to look menacing and whatnot, is the puppets they use, the CG they used on them was to take detail out instead of adding detail to them, which is why they kind of look like these crazy tooth-filled voids, which I love. What a smart idea. Make them less specific. Which also you can't really do with like vampires and werewolves and whatnot, like, but you can with aliens.
Like basically a movie about gentrification and like, taking care of your community, period.
Yeah.
You think I'm gonna help you? After you attacked me and robbed me and then set those dogs on the police?
Yes to the first two, no to the last one.
Dogs. Dogs with colour dark jaws. Dogs with no eyes. Dogs the size of gorillas. You think them things are dogs? Go out there and try feeding them some pedigree chum. They're aliens, love.
Whatever the fuck they are, they're not fucking aliens.
You swear too much, man.
You got a potty mouth, man.
I think one of the most brilliant movies about aliens to come out in a long time was 2022's Nope.
Mm-hmm.
I love Nope. I've heard some people find it either either really confusing or too simple. I disagree with both of those things. I truly think, for me at least, it is Jordan Peele's masterpiece.
The aliens just keep coming.
Yeah, we
like
we
it's
are getting
truly nonstop.
We're getting 2 Predator films this year. Elio came out last summer, or this summer, in fact. Pixar's movie about aliens. We're getting Bugonia, a remake of Save the Green Planet. People are never going to stop looking up at the sky and seeing, things and wondering if there's more out there, and wondering if there's more to us, and what those secrets are. And much like 2001, do we deserve those secrets? do we deserve to know?
No.
All right. Well, I think that really, obviously we can never hit every alien movie, every movie about an extraterrestrial, but I think that really does it for the Halloween-ness for this. So why don't we get into our picks and talk about perhaps the alien invasions that we didn't like very much.
There are plenty of movies to choose from that are just not good movies at all. But one specifically that I watched for this that just really, and again, I was ready to watch movies and be like, okay, I'm ready to absorb really bad takes on aliens as immigrants and poor politics on this. And especially when it comes to this film, this is 2011's Cowboys and Aliens. And I thought, man, how the fuck are they gonna do? Is this movie just gonna be literally cowboys shooting aliens because they are the outsider? I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else, this movie is not even smart enough to try that. It's just so boring. It is such a dumb, obvious wannabe blockbuster IP starting event thing. I mean, Jon Favreau directed it, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
It's so self-serious and it's so heavy and under its weight of its own, wanting to be important. I was like, girlies, the movie's called Cowboys and Aliens. At minimum, I'm gonna need some fun Western shootout vibes with big guns. And it's just not that. It's just so boring. Starring Daniel Craig, Harrison Ford, who I know he hated being there. Harrison Ford was miserable making this movie. Olivia Wilde.
You know what wasn't miserable? The boat that he bought with it, though.
Right. Right. Exactly. Olivia Wilde is here. Spoiler alert, she is an alien. She's an alien. Because they kill her, and then she's like, surprise, I'm back because I'm an alien. And it's oh, okay. Sam Rockwell is here doing not much. Paul Dano is being very kind of crybaby boy here. Yeah, it's the movie starts and Daniel Craig wakes up and he's like, oh my God, where am I? Who am I? I can't remember anything, but I've got this shiny gauntlet on my arm and it shoots lasers, and that's crazy. Ends up in this old rodeo town, or not rodeo town, but an old timey Western town. And yeah, he finds a preacher, and then aliens come, and the adventure happens as he gets his memory back. Olivia Wilde is sexy, mysterious girl who does in fact turn out to be an alien, whatever.
Gasp.
Yeah, very gasp. It's just there are Native Americans in this movie. And whatever. It's just, I was so deeply, it's long, it's boring, it feels like it goes on forever. The aliens don't really have much going on either. I didn't think they were interesting looking. Oh, Gavin, I forgot. Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot this. The reason why the aliens are on Earth is because what? They want gold because it's rare. There's literally a line where it's gold is as rare it is to them as it is to us. And
Great.
Yeah, great. And so they're taking over the mining operations to get the gold. And these cowboys are like, nah, that's our gold. It's just so stupid, so boring. I can't believe that I was concerned about like the politics of this movie when it's just like the movie really thinks it's like high art. I think it was telling when the poster says from the director of Iron Man. Mm. Mm.
Classic cinema.
Yes. Yeah, the aliens aren't cool. They don't look like there's nothing interesting going on here at all. At all. No one found innocent. Everyone guilty.
Sorry, but I couldn't tell you.
You're one of them.
No. I'm from a different place. I took this form so I could walk among you.
You should have told me.
I didn't know if I could heal this body. If I would wake up.
I think that's a very good choice. I saw that movie in the theater, and it was bad then. Yeah. You know what? I'm easily tricked.
Yeah, I mean, you said Iron Man. I'm there.
Yeah, I was like the director of Iron Man. Oh my god. A very good pick. Like I said, my 1-star review is actually even more recent than that. Now, admittedly, I think there are many bad alien invasion movies, and there are many bad movies about aliens, and there are definitely other ones that I probably could have picked, whether it be about quality of the effects or whether it be about. But the one that bothered me the most was this science fiction horror film from 2023 called No One Will Save You. And I'm so sorry because I know it stars your precious Caitlin Dever, and I do love Caitlin Dever a lot, and I don't think she's the problem with this movie. So I'm going to absolve her of the crimes of existing in this film. But
don't look at me that way, Gavin. I'm listening.
This is a film directed by Brian Duffield, who also wrote this movie, and it's essentially about an alien invasion in a small town. That starts off kind of small. It's you are with Caitlin Dever, who is this woman who lives in the small town where she's been shunned by these people, and you don't know why. And these aliens attack her, and they try and take over her. And she, for some reason, can. I don't want to spoil everything, though. I'm probably going to end up spoiling quite a bit. She can stop them from doing it. She kills an alien in her house. She tries to warn the town. No one will believe her in the town because they've shunned her. One woman like literally spits in her face. She goes back. She gets attacked by more aliens. She kills them. They try and replicate her. Finally, the aliens, being like exhausted of the fact that this woman keeps being able to stop them, get a hold of her, probe her mind, and find out that the reason she is hated in this town is that as a child she was in an argument with another child, another woman, another girl, and she hit that girl with a rock and it killed her. And because of this one accident that occurred as a kid, this town has decided that she's persona non grata and can't be amongst them. And the aliens decide to let her go, to coexist peacefully with them as they then continue to take control of every single other person, not just in her town, but implied across the earth. And she gets to live like a coexistent life with these people who no longer hate her because they're all of one fascist hive mind. And it's okay because her trauma is healed, and that's what's important. I said I wasn't going to spoil it all, but I basically did. There are two major things that I hate in this. One is a shallow thing, which is the aliens are all like rubbery cartoon CG, and that's just never going to do anything for me. That's bad. It looks bad. And I don't know why anybody finds that scary, finds that interesting, finds that unique. Awful. My other thing is one of the things that I delighted in watching these movies is, for good or for bad, a lot of these were about communities coming together, a lot about people working together to either fight off or accept their fate, accept these aliens into their society, get them out. I think that's interesting. I think that's really the heart of most of these alien movies, has to do with people realizing that there is something bigger going on, that they have to trust each other or else they'll be led to their doom. And this movie posits that no, actually, it is just about one person. And it is only the idea that no one will save you, I think, is maybe the kind of crux of the conservative ideology, that you are alone and everyone is out to get you, and only you, a self-sufficient person, the like Ayn Randian-ness of it all, where it's like one special person can be the one. And I hate that. I think it's boring. I think it's stupid. I think it's selfish. I remember when this movie came out, Guillermo del Toro tweeted that it was actually about the Catholic idea of grace. And that could be true, but like fuck that then. If grace if getting to the term of grace is all about turning your back on every single other living person so you have a better life, that's fucked up. That's the worst kind of thing. And so this is an extremely not for me movie, and the one compliment I'll give it is that it's 93 minutes.
Also, Caitlin Dever slays.
Yeah. Absolved. Once again, her only crime is that she's in it. She's good in it.
I think I take all your points. I think it's very interesting. I think this movie is like hard to digest broadly because they're dealing with a lot going on here. I would argue that like she killed somebody. I'm not arguing. She like the way she feels is that like the world is against her. No one is. I think for me, what I got from it was like the idea that no one will save you is she can only save herself. She can only forgive herself from this horrible thing. You know, like I think that's kind of like the vibe. And like when the aliens kind of like probe her, like there, it feels like she's like, and I thought this movie was not gonna go the way it went. I was like, oh my God, this like girly finally like, you know, she was able to tap into that trauma and like absolve herself. And I thought the aliens were like, cool, we did that and now we're leaving. The fucked upness of this movie is that she is like living. I mean, because you kind of like think that it's going to end with her being like, I forgive myself and I'm going to move on and like I can go on living and it's like all hunky dory. And then the reveal that everyone is actually, you know, been kind of taken over by the parasites and controlled, and she's living, laughing, loving it, and she knows what's happening. It's like it kind of gave me like Twilight Zone vibes, where it's like it is fucked up. Part of me is like, this movie is like not going for that obviously community like coming together thing. Like this movie's to me like clearly going for like this inward struggle. Like she's going through hell fighting like these literal demons to like come to salvation for herself. I don't know. I think it's like a interesting. I was at least not bored. Like I was like, there's a lot going on here that is like very fucked up. And I remember you told me that you like didn't like this movie, so I was like, I'm gonna watch this movie. And I was like, this kind of is giving me the same vibes of we've talked about other movies where it's like, oh, this is like the perfect movie to discourse over because it's like, what the fuck? I also think like the shitty looking, boring aliens is like intentional because it's like everything is so kind of like weird, fake fairy tale, like, you know, 60s type of like vibe. Anyway, like at the very end when they're dancing and doing that number, I'm like, oh, this is like a fucking Stepford Wives Ian type thing where like, of course they're not trying to like reinvent the wheel with the aliens here. Also it's a Hulu movie. They didn't got the money for that, baby. I was like,
well, it was a Hulu movie because Disney bought 20th Century Fox. So like,
and they were like, we can't put a movie with like 2 lines of dialogue in the theater.
Right, exactly. I think it's borderline irresponsible to, and you know, maybe that's just me being a dick, but like to put out a movie that feels this kind of grossly conservative in this time period, that and like, yeah, you're right, it is specifically the story of one person overcoming their thing, and like, but at what cost? Like, does her personal satisfaction in knowing that like she gets to live her life mean anything in a world where everybody is just a automaton? Like,
right, well it's almost like it's not a like overcoming movie, it's a revenge movie. You know, like
yeah, it really is.
Right. So like, and at the beginning, and when you think I thought it was to be like, and she overcame and like how wonderful. Like, and it's like, nope. She said, fuck all these people who were like awful to me for I think it's like she's like, it's been 10 years since you died or whatever when she's writing
Right.
her little journal. 10 years of like no one talk. I mean, the choice of like not having any dialogue is like, oh, because no one will talk to her.
Right.
No one, like her world is empty.
And like and like listen, that is really shit. The community is also shitty and they're being children. And I'm not but like to me it's one of those things where it's like, do they deserve to die for that? Do they
well,
like
they're not dead. They're just, not in charge of their faculties.
right, exactly. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Was there anything else you saw that you particularly like?
That I didn't like. I mean, we mentioned a long time ago in our Chris Hemsworth episode, Men in Black 3.
Yes. 4.
4.
Men in Black International.
I also watched this movie called The Watch.
Yes.
And it's like a Lonely Island joint, I think.
Yeah.
Or like somewhere in that universe.
Yeah, I was gonna say I vaguely remember when that came out.
I thought I was like, oh, is this movie gonna go for like because the whole idea is like your neighborhood and watching out for your neighborhood. I thought it was gonna have some of those Attack the Block vibes, but it trades that all in for like dick jokes.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. Well,
Doesn't
this is
shock
like
me.
not really that interesting at all. So womp womp.
We didn't even talk about it, but 2009's The Fourth Kind, which I think something like 2 years ago was voted by IndieWire the 6th scariest movie of all time, which is like, give me a break.
I saw the trailer for that and it was on my long list to watch. I couldn't get to it, but I was like, oh, this studio saw Paranormal Activity popping up,
Yes.
and they said, we know what we want to do.
All right,
Lovely.
let's get out of here, out of our 1-star reviews, and why don't we move into our 5-star reviews and talk about movies we did particularly like.
You kind of hit the nail on the head of it. I think like I 2022's Nope is just such a fucking masterpiece.
It really is.
And I think it does what all of these like kind of big movies want to do, where it's like it is a spectacle, it is full of action, it is funny, it is terrifying. It somehow is home to all these genres wrapped in a alien movie, and is a mind fuck. I remember like, did we watch this movie together, Gavin?
No, we did not, because I went to see it with my friend Ross. And sorry, you're
Maybe-
no Ross.
No, Ross. Maybe I saw it with Sam. I feel like I left.
Honestly, that's an honor then, because I love Sam.
I think
Confuse
like
us anytime.
I think I stood up and like there was like this guy just sitting in the chair and he was like, does anyone know what the hell just happened? Which I think was a big thing for a lot of people
Yeah.
who watched this movie. So like Evan mentioned,
I've had friends tell me it has too many ideas, and I think that is like kind of a
No.
damning statement about our media literacy at this point in time.
I mean, I think like, so like Evan mentioned, Jordan Peele, his third movie, I believe, after Us and Get Out and Us, then this one. I think Jordan obviously had lots of like ideas, but what I think is the main idea here is that like we need to let the natural world be natural and cannot expect the taming of animals to ever be like a good thing, or like animals as entertainment is a fucked up thing that we should like leave alone forever. And I think he tells us that in a lot of different ways, from what's the fam, like Emerald and like Daniel Kaluuya's character and Keke Palmer's their brother and sister, who are horse wranglers who were like bring
and
horses
trainers and
for movies and stuff. And so like there's that the accident that happens on set because the people who are making the movies are like, we don't care about the keeping things safe on set, and like we just need to like shoot and go. And like of course the horse has a moment and like hurt someone. And then we have like the flashbacks with Steven Yeun's character, where there's like a chimpanzee on set goes,
Yeah.
wild, and it's like a terrifying, terrifying scene of, this chimpanzee losing it and, being really violent and bloodied, and like Steven Yeun's character is the only one who survives the whole thing. Cut to Steven Yeun now, who is like this carnival barker type guy who is allowing this alien, who's allowing Jean Jacket to come and like suck up horses and like and whatever, and it's a show. And it's just like this, and Jean Jacket is like this ultimate thing of like, okay, well, we saw what happens with the domestic horse. We saw
Right.
what happens with the chimpanzee, and now we've got a fucking alien that we know nothing about. And like, I think it's just about this like, myth that we tell ourselves that we can tame the natural world. We can
Yeah.
tame these predators, and not only tame them, but like make it entertainment. We are paying money and getting our rocks off by like seeing a wild animal like, do its thing. And I think it's just so interesting, and like kind of the hubris of man to think like, yes, I am entertained by this like strange creature that is actually pretty destructive, and like, but that's like the nature of the natural world. It's just like, kind of, they're eating, they're like, hunting, they're animals. Like, animals are meant to be animals. And humans need to like relax and stop trying to like document them. There's the whole side quest of like the documentary guy who was like,
Right.
got fucked up, and um I just think like every idea that Jordan Peele has is all in service to strengthening his thesis here.
Yeah.
And like, making it rock solid.
And I love the way that it plays with the expectation of you thinking that the alien itself is going to be some sort of machine that's taking
Mhm.
things and whatnot. And it's not. It like you said, it's a wild animal. It is eating. It is consuming. How did it get here? It doesn't matter. Like, but it's here, and we have to find a way to coexist with it or destroy it. But like, we can't tame it. Like, there is,
Yeah.
there's no way of making it.
I love the like, like a animal in the forest or the jungle, it is hiding in its surroundings. It is camouflaging itself in the clouds. Like,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, this is the apex predator type shit, like this is, it's just that layered with the, story that Jordan Peele is telling about Black people in cinema, and like the way that Keke Palmer is able to, use the like little circle thing to kind of like, it's all just so studied and smart. There's not a wasted frame in this entire movie, not a wasted line in this movie. I was thrilled from beginning to end. I think obviously Keke Palmer, such a star.
Oh my God, a movie star.
Yeah.
Completely.
Daniel Kaluuya, who has that like kind of like low grade,
Yeah.
just like, I'm trying to not like fuck things up, and like, but then like, when he finally is like, nope, it's really funny.
He's the perfect foil for her too, because
Yeah.
they bring such different ends of the spectrum of energy to it. It's really lovely.
Yeah. It's such a good movie. Like, such a good movie. I love this movie.
I went back and scrubbed through the footage, and that cloud has been right there at least since I set the cameras up.
Yeah, now you mention it. I'll probably be looking at the same damn cloud every day for the last 6 months.
Shit. So, I mean, that's them in there, and we've been recording it, so we got it, right?
Yeah.
Why you saying yeah like that? I mean, we have proof of aliens on video.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it proof.
Are you serious?
Look, I've seen crazy weather phenomenons online before, that's all I'm saying.
He's right. It's good, but it ain't it. Ain't Oprah.
Ain't Oprah.
Okay. Are you guys telling me that there's an alien spaceship in that fucking cloud right there?
It doesn't move like a ship.
What you mean, OJ?
What if it's not a ship?
I'm also going to pick something about a wild animal that is an alien, and possibly the alien is very smart. Possibly the alien is just struggling to survive. Um, I think I would be remiss if I didn't say Ridley Scott's Alien is sort of the ultimate in alien horror movies. Like that's very true. But I do kind of want to. I'm not righting a wrong. I'm just making a addendum to a choice I made much earlier, which was in our John Carpenter episode. I named The Fog as my 5-star review, which I still stand by. I love The Fog. I watch it every Halloween time comes around. But I do think John Carpenter's masterpiece will always be remembered as 1982's The Thing. And I think he created a film that is ultimately about paranoia and about what would happen if you put an isolated group of people and they had to band together to fight a thing that can look like anything, that can adapt to anything, and a terrifying and grotesque sort of way as well too, as it like mutates to save itself. I think what's interesting is I watched The Thing from Another World and then The Thing back to back. And The Thing from Another World, I think, is sort of interesting in the fact that there's female characters in it. And I think one of the smart things The Thing does, and I'm going to say this and I'm not trying to be controversial, is eliminate the female characters. And I think that works effectively for two reasons. One, it avoids some like really obvious sexist trappings that probably would have occurred if there were female characters involved here. There probably would have had to have been a scene where people were like, oh my God, I can't believe she did that. She's a woman. And I'm glad we don't have to deal with that. As much as I think women should be on film and everything, but like it's okay in this situation, because I think the other part of it is very damning that in order to figure out who is the thing, you really sort of have to open up and you have to be expressive and you have to like really work it out and tell each other secrets, and men can't do that. And men just like straight men won't. And that's a tough thing to deal with. And I think the movie's sort of fascinating for that. If you've not seen The Thing, it's a movie that opens up with a Norwegian in a helicopter firing at a dog that has made its way to an American research base. And a Norwegian gets out of a crashed helicopter, goes after this dog, and they kill him because he won't stop firing. And then you find out that the dog has been inhabited by an alien that the Norwegians discovered trapped under the ice. And this is an alien that feeds on the genetic material of other creatures that it encounters, and therefore can become them. It can disguise itself as the other people in this base. It can disguise itself as animals, or it can make itself into really fucked up versions of anything in order to like get away. Such as at one point, a person's head rips off, grows spider legs, two eyes pop out of it. It's gnarly. This
movie is gross, to be clear.
It's so very gross. Mouths where there shouldn't be mouths all the time. And this movie stars Kurt Russell, and it's got a great cast of, like I said, all men: Archie McReady, Wilford Brimley, Paul Masur, Donald Moffat, Keith David. Fucking love Keith David, who was also in They Live for John Carpenter and Alien Invasion.
Yes.
And essentially it is watching the paranoia tear these men apart. And you eventually get to the point where they think they've maybe gotten the thing, and it's just Keith David and Kurt Russell. It's one of those very famous end scenes in a movie where they just basically have each other in a tete-a-tete where they're sitting by each other. They know they're going to freeze to death. And you don't know, as the movie ends, are either one of them the thing? Is one of them the monster? Are they just going to freeze to death? A lot of people see this as a nihilistic ending. And I know I just ranted and railed against the nihilism of No One Will Save You. I've never seen this as a nihilistic ending. I've seen this as an ending of either people, one person, both, doing what they think they can to save the rest of the planet. Doing what they think they can to stop this thing in its tracks, to end this cycle of everybody dying. by sacrificing themselves, by being like, listen, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. If I have to die here to stop this thing from getting to the population. There's a great scene where Wilford Brimley like does the math and he's like, it's going to take like 27 hours essentially before this thing destroys the planet. And if it gets beyond this. And I love that. I love the darkness of this movie. I love how like mysterious it is and how gross and weird it is. I love the fact that the alien can be anything. I think it's funny. Kurt Russell has said he hates it when people want to know who the alien is at the end. He's like, that's the beauty of it. Like, we worked really hard on this ending. It's also not the ending that it didn't test well. And so they refilmed an ending where Kurt Russell is saved and he's blood tested and he's fine. And that didn't test well. And so then they did one that was like without Keith David and it was just Kurt Russell freezing to death. That didn't test well. So they went back literally the week before the movie was set to premiere and put this ending back in. John Carpenter has said he knows which one of them is the thing. He's just not telling.
He's lying.
Exactly. Well, that's he said in one of the, when they were testing it, they tested this original ending. He said one person in a Q&A was like, which one of them is the thing? And he said, use your imagination. And they said, I hate that.
No.
Yeah. I think it's sort of the perfect encapsulation of the early 80s coming out of the 70s. And like I said, people are in a recession. They really wanted to have a good time at ET. And John Carpenter said, no, you were not going to have that.
It's funny you mentioned like it being an encapsulation of the 80s. I wonder if like it is an absolute juxtaposition of No One Will Save You that I think is like a direct like commentary of like self-care culture of like the 2020s, where it's like, you know what, I can only worry about myself. I really can't, like, I'm not gonna work. This is my world.
Did the work. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, like, and in that sense it kind of reads to me like in like the Starship Troopers. I mean, maybe like the point is you're like, yeah, fuck this girl. Actually, like, if people make selfish decisions all the time, especially in these movies, and so I wonder, you know, if it is speaking to the time we live in, which is kind of sad and fucked up. But like,
I think you're right, and I think it is sad and fucked up. But yeah,
and like the thing, you know, I remember when I watched it's funny because you can watch that movie and just be like, whoa, gross out, blowing things up and crazy monsters, whatever. But it's also, I remember thinking like, this is actually is so good. It also reminds me so much. It has all the best parts of Alien, in that like these are working class guys who have a really shitty job, who all of a sudden have to deal with like this crazy shit going on.
I'm gonna hide this tape when I'm finished. If none of us make it, at least there'll be some kind of record. The storm's been hitting us hard now for 48 hours. We still have nothing to go on. One other thing, I think it rips through your clothes when it takes you over. Windows found some shredded long johns, but the name tag was missing. Nobody trusts anybody now. We're all very tired.
And I like that there's not a ton of answers. Like, is this thing invading them? Is it destroying them to replace them? If this thing can get inside them, do they know when it's inside them until it activates? Yeah, it's really interesting. I love the thing, and I really do. You know, I think it probably is John Carpenter's masterpiece, but also I think he's a great filmmaker. So,
well, I mean, like, I'm obsessed that we both picked two masterpieces by auteurs in like very different, you know, time. But I think
Nope was my backup besides Alien as well too. So like, I'm glad you picked it.
And I think that's kind of speaks to you, like, you know, there are such incredible movies in this genre, or in this like little mini genre that we were covering. And you can go into so many different directions. It just kind of speaks to the strength of, you know, Alien film. I mean, I would be happy to talk about Lilo and Stitch for a million years. Okay. Like,
I truly was prepared to talk about Mars Attacks. I love Mars Attacks so much. Like I really do. It's silly Billy, but it's so much fun. And I love in that movie. It is all about like you just can't get along with these aliens. Like
Yeah,
you just.
right.
Was there anything else that you saw that you particularly liked?
I want to mention 1991's Vegas in Space, which
Fuck yes.
we talked about in our Dragon film episode many years ago. Super subversive, so campy, about astronauts who have to transition to go beyond this planet where only women are allowed. Made by drag queens from San Francisco, Doris Fish. Just like if, and I think we said this on the drag episode, like if you ever want to see like a rusical or like one of those Rue drag race skits that is actually funny and what they're referencing, it is Vegas in Space.
It's Vegas in Space. Contains possibly one of my favorite lines in all of cinema, which is,
"Will there be danger, Captain? Will we be safe? Is life safe, Sheila?"
It's so fun, so good. Watch that. I don't have to tell anyone that Arrival is good. You guys know Arrival is good. So yeah, they live like so fun.
Why don't we do our mixed reviews review before getting into our fast forward?
My 1-star review is 2011's Cowboys and Aliens.
And my 1-star review was 2023's No One Will Save You.
My 5-star review is 2022's Nope.
And my 5-star review is 1982's John Carpenter's The Thing.
All right, let's get into our fast forward.
Yeah.
Gavin, were you able to see Begonia at the film festival?
I was not. It did not play New York Film Festival, so yeah, it didn't. I know
even though last year they were there with Emma's shaved head.
Yeah, lying about it.
Lying.
Yeah, shh, it's a wig. I know, right? I feel it too.
I feel that. I'm excited. I don't know like how much more I can handle of Yorgos and Emma
I know.
doing this kind of song and dance, but I have a lot of goodwill towards Emma Stone. I think she's like,
yeah, she's great, but I think I'm feeling the same thing you're feeling. I didn't particularly love Kinds of Kindness, and I worry like which part of the pendulum are we going to get. It's always nice when a filmmaker finds their muse, but like I want her to do other things,
Yeah, I mean, like it's like The Favorite was like, oh wow, what a fun surprising thing, and then like whatever the last time she won her Oscar for.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Frankenstein Baby Girl, whatever.
Yeah, Frankenstein
Baby Girl, Emma Stone.
That was what it was called.
Like
Emma
an Oscar.
Stone's Emma Stone's Frankenstein Baby Girl. That was the title.
Yeah.
We're not here to talk about Emma Stone and Yorgos, though. I think obviously until either there's contact with other life and other planets and other civilizations, or until everybody discloses what they know about, like, we're not going to have answers, and there's going to be many alien films. I mentioned the Alien TV show, Alien Earth. Like, I think we're in this stage of like, I think you actually kind of hit on it, like introspection when it comes to aliens. I think we're more in this area of like what it means for us as like people. If an alien species contacts us, I just also don't think it's a good time. I don't know if you know about this. There was a movie that played Sundance this year. It's an American documentary by Dan Farah called The Age of Disclosure. There's a trailer that just came out not too long ago. I mean, it has like many sitting senators. It has fucking Marco Rubio in it, talking about what the government knows about aliens and whatnot. I'm sure it's not going to be like, oh my God, mind blowing the way that it's advertising itself. It's probably going to give us the thing that everybody gives us. But I think it's interesting that we're now getting like quote unquote serious documentaries about what the government knows about aliens.
I'm like, I mean, right now, I think we're going to see a lot of movies a la District 9 coming soon. Like I don't think there's been a time in recent memory where being an immigrant has been
Yeah.
so vilified, and like the fascism of it all, the war of it all, it's pretty bleak. Obviously, I don't have to explain that to anyone, but I think the alien genre is made for this like time,
Yeah.
and I think we're going to be seeing art about what's happening right now pretty soon, and I would not be surprised if we get something like a District 9 type movie, because we are making concentration camps and we are rounding up people who aren't from here,
Yeah.
big air quotes, don't belong, big air quotes. And yeah, what was the episode? There's a Black Mirror episode, right? Where like they're shooting what they think are like bugs in like a video game, but turns out they're just like people, but it's like a VR type thing.
There
And
probably is. I don't think I made it that far into.
I can't.
I've only seen the first couple seasons, but
I didn't watch like all of it, but like I remember there's like an episode about like, oh yeah, we're playing military guys and we're shooting bad guys and they look like bugs, and then turns out like they are not in fact bugs. They
yeah,
are people.
stuff like that does not feel very far off. No.
No, and it's so bleak and so depressing, and like I mean, I don't know, maybe we won't be seeing this soon because it's just too real, and we want, the rah fun escapism stuff, but I don't
But
know, man.
I mean, but that's the terrifying thing, right? And like, I'm not blaming anybody who went to see E.T. in 1983. But that's why E.T. was such a big hit. And the thing wasn't because an artist's job should be about reflecting the time,
Mhm.
at people, or reflecting, I'm not saying that's their only job, but a good artist is also able to incorporate like what's going on, and working in the reality, and being able to allegorize that, and put it out. And I think, the more happy ET, the message of unity and the message of like, can't we all just get along, versus the like, no, there's some real things that are dividing us, and like,
Yeah.
and so I think you're probably right. I think we might be seeing more of that, and hopefully it's a good thing.
Yeah.
The worst thing is to think, oh, bad times create good art, so we should have bad times for good art. Good art should exist in all times,
Right.
but hey, it certainly doesn't hurt to try and make good art out of something horrible, and it is horrible what's happening in the United States right now.
Yeah, and I think like the one thing I guess I could say is like, the Lilo and Stitch live action came out and people were like, what the fuck? Ohana means
Yeah.
family. Ohana means family, and like the sisters left. Like that makes no sense. Like that's the whole vibe. That's the whole thing. And maybe, we're due for another Arrival type thing where the Amy Adams learns the lesson, does the thing, and like is able to. I mean, that movie is all about communication, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
about connecting with other people through communication. And God help us, like we need a little bit of communicating, and unity and Ohana, more than ever.
I know
Um,
it's crazy to quote that, but you're not wrong. That's, yeah.
yeah, I mean, in a world that has become smaller and smaller, and we are consuming more and more things that
Yeah.
aren't, like the things that, you know, K-pop Demon Hunters, number one thing, and blah blah blah. But, like, that is culture that is not ours, but that is
Yeah.
absolutely the mainstream. And as that continues to happen, like we are all in this big earthling family, and like what would happen if like aliens, like we have to work together? Hello?
We have to work together, and it can't turn into fascism. But I think that's why it bothers me, the idea that no one will save you, because I think, especially right now, watching people stop, people being taken from their families, and try and keep that from happening, and trying to work in place of systems that are clearly broken. That's why, like, I'm like, no, people will save you. Like, you gotta believe in that, hopefully.
Yeah. Everyone go watch Contact. Okay, we need to end this. Go watch Contact. Go watch Lilo and Stitch.
Have a happy Halloween watching Contact and Lilo and Stitch.
Perfect.
But yeah, I think that really wraps up our Aliens on film. This was a lot of fun, and it is like such a wide genre and such a vast array of things. But delving into the like darker side of it, the more Halloween-y side of it has been a lot of fun.
But you can be gross, you can be happy, funny, all the things.
Absolutely. But if you want to delve in deeper, you can always find us online at The Mixed Reviews on Blue Sky.
Or also on Facebook, just type in The Mixed Reviews.
If you want to drop us a little note, you can always find us at reviewsmixed@gmail.com.
You can find us on Instagram at _mix_reviews.
And if you want to listen to our past episodes, just as you listen to this episode, you can find our back catalog on Apple, Spotify, on Google, on Amazon, Audible. We're in all the places. While you're there, write us a 5-star rating, write a little review. We'll read it on the show. You can comment on Spotify now. It's the future, baby.
Yeah. Why don't you send us a little signal like in Contact to contact us, okay? Send a message into the sky and the stars. We will be looking up to see your comments. We so appreciate them.
And if you want to listen to other shows on the Glitterjaw Queer Podcast Collective, you can always find those at glitterjaw.com.
Lots of stuff to get into there. Happy holidays. Be spooky. Be merry. Gavin, are you dressing up this year?
No, I don't have any plans to dress up this year, so.
Me either. I think I'm gonna reuse an old costume. No one knows me here in Boston. They don't know what I've been doing. In my
they
life.
don't know what you've been doing.
Whatever.
You got all those extra heads laying around.
I really do.
Pokemon heads.
Yes, correct. But all right, we will see you guys next month. Thank you so much for listening. Bye bye.
There's a starman waiting in the sky. He'd like to come and meet us, but he thinks he'd blow our minds. There's a starman waiting in the sky. He's told us not to blow it, 'cause he knows it's all worthwhile. He told me, let the children lose it, let the children use it, let all the children boogie.
Okay, the volume. Cancel.
Honey, the land. Honey, the volume.
The most brain-rotted gaze I know. Honey, the land.
Listen, I've been on the Sylvia Brown train since I was a kid. My mom watched every single Montel Williams episode Sylvia Brown was on. My mom was like a hardcore devotee. So I grew up with Sylvia Brown. So the fact that it's now becoming a thing, I'm like, no, that's mine.
It was my obscure thing.